welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Please meet Naila Kiani, the Dubai-based Pakistani-born super mom who's not only been conquering mountains but breaking records in the process. She recently conquered her 7th 8,000-meter peak in just 7 months, and she's now completed 10 out of the 14 8,000-meter peaks in just over 2 years. That is no small accomplishment. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Incredible lady.
Thank you. I don't know what to say after that.
How amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, so you have honestly the most incredible achievements that so many people it's intense. Like to think of climbing a mountain and to think of even going through all that. So how did you get into this?
So I started trekking. I mean, I loved being in the mountains, and actually it's quite strange, funny, interesting at the same time. I wanted to celebrate my wedding. I didn't want I'm from Pakistan and we have big weddings, and I wanted to stay away from that. So I wanted to celebrate my wedding and have a photo shoot. So that was my first time in Karakoram, in front of K2 mountain. So I did a trek. So from there, I met many mountaineers, and I was very inspired because I saw a documentary movie Everest just before that trek, and I was like, why are these people are crazy? They're risking their lives just to be on top of the mountain. But that trek actually changed my mind about that. I wanted to experience that, and I climbed my first peak 2 years ago. I never planned to be a mountaineer or a climber ever in my life. I never thought I'd do it after having kids.
Wow, so you climbed your first peak just 2 years ago, and since then you've gone on to conquer 7 of the world's highest summits?
10
of the world's highest summits? That's amazing. So let's go rewind to 2 years ago. What type of training did you do for your first peak? Were you prepared, do you feel?
So, I mean, it was July 2021, and I lived here. I didn't have I couldn't go to big mountains to train myself, because that's the best training you can do. Do smaller treks, climb smaller peaks to prepare yourself for the highest mountains. So I was here. All I could do was gym training, work on my strength, endurance, cardio training, and my purpose I wasn't aiming to go to the top. I wanted to experience the journey. I wanted to experience being on the mountain with the elite mountaineers. But that training still helped me. I managed to reach the top. I didn't think I could reach the top of the mountain, but I did. But all I did was gym training here in Dubai.
So how supportive was your family of this? Because I mean, coming from a Desi household, these are things that are very unconventional.
Yes. So I mean, I didn't tell obviously my husband knew, but I didn't really tell my parents or his parents because I was worried about the reaction. So I kept talking to him about mountaineering or climbing a mountain for 2 years before I actually climbed it. So he knew. He said he probably thought if he doesn't agree, I'll never stop going on about mountains. So he thought it might be one-off. So for the first one, he was okay. He like I said, it took me 2 years to convince him. But second mountain, that was last year, K2 is one of the world's most dangerous mountain. It took me 9 months to keep talking about it. Then I had to get a friend to get him to agree on it, because it's dangerous, and he was worried about my safety. But this year's been easier. It's been he was supportive anyway last year and the year before. But this year he knew that I will not, it's risky, but I won't make decisions that will make it even more dangerous, or I go with the best team. So he knew that I will take, he's concerned now because my last expedition it didn't go very well. But he's been very supportive. I have 2 young kids, 2 young girls, and he's been amazing, helping to look after them. And it's not easy for a mother to leave kids. Sometimes I hear comments online that how kind of mother are you leaving kids behind? But I knew I had the comfort because I knew I have an amazing husband who's a really good father, not just, he's very hands-on. And so I think that really helped me to do what I did in the last 2 years.
Such a green flag. That's amazing support system to have in the house. But you said your last expedition didn't go as well. How come? What happened there?
So, it's a dangerous sport. I've seen people die previously too, but not as part of my own expedition. So on the last expedition, Shisha Pangma in Tibet, 4 people died. I mean, 2 were my own team members, and they got hit by an avalanche. And but it was the story behind it. I just want to share it very quickly. They were competing to be the first American women, and they didn't want to work together. So they were really, and it was a very aggressive. At the end, it became toxic, that competition. So you cannot compete on the mountain. I mean, there's always been competition, but when it turns toxic, people ignore the safety factors and they make decisions that can risk their life. So yeah, I mean, I'm still sort of recovering that experience.
I think that made the news, this one.
Yes, it did.
And how did it come about that you were climbing together, this group?
So, I mean, so I knew the other lady. So basically, there were 2 American women. One was part of my group, and then the other lady was part of another group. I climbed with her before. She was my team member on K2 before, and we met on many mountains.
Oh, sorry. That must have been so difficult.
I mean, to be honest, I'm a little bit still, when I come back from mountains, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel lightheaded for a week or so. But this experience was actually quite traumatic. So I mean, my husband told me last night about this. I was like, what? I have this show in the morning, but I'm still a little bit, I mean, not there just because of this experience. But it is part of being on the mountains. It is risky. But as a mother, I think when this happened, when the first avalanche happened, and we could see that something's gone wrong, and we didn't exactly know what happened, then my expedition leader said, go up, continue going up, because it's a lot of people were competing. For a lot of people, it was their last 14th mountain to complete the 14th challenge. So I mean, maybe the motherly instinct told me not to. So I said straight away. I mean, some other people were still considering going up. I said straight away, I'm going down. So I was the first person to go down, and half an hour after that, there was another avalanche that took the other lady. So yeah, I think being a mother maybe helped me to decide that, we cannot, because when you're so close, we were very close to the top. When you're so close, you've spent thousands, whether it's your money or sponsors' money, and you've spent a lot of time away from family. You feel like maybe, we call it summit fever. We say, maybe we should just, it'll take 2-3 more hours, take the risk and go up. But you then need to decide whether, you should go for the summit or go for the safety.
Would you have felt any no. Okay. So in the mountains, like, what exactly do you learn out of it? Like, one is clearly to trust your instincts, like trust whatever your gut is telling you. And this time your gut proved you right. So what other learnings have you taken from the, just climbing and mountaineering?
I think, very difficult question. I have to, I guess, think for a couple of moments. But I mean, good or bad lessons. One thing is, I mean, you make really amazing friends. I mean, people you meet, you don't know them for a long time, but when you spend time with them there, they help you to climb. Because what I miss, because sometimes people, I mean, there's another Pakistani female, she climbed with her family. Her family is there as expedition company. What I miss was the not having the emotional support of family members, and I don't always tell my husband. Like, if something goes wrong, I don't always share it with my family members because I don't want to make them worry. But the connections you make there, sometimes sometimes people for a very short amount of time, but they really help you overcome that emotional, or sort of cover that emotional gap that you feel over there in the mountains. I think that's my biggest, that's something that really helped me on the mountains. And I think apart from that, I can't think of anything.
Is there anything you would tell your children, like from your experiences up there, like anything you've learned, like that you can use in life as well, that you would pass on to your kids?
My mind's still blank. But one thing, I think keep going, because I had a lot of challenges moving away from this traumatic experience. I had a lot of challenges when it came to continue climbing, or just climbing, or being away from small kids, being from a Desi background also. I had a lot of abuse online too. I heard comments. I mean, I've climbed 10 mountains above 8,000 meter. I mean, just to put this into perspective, Burj Khalifa is just under 800 meters. So that's, 10 times that. So
that really helps actually. Thank you.
So it wasn't easy. A lot of people think just because, they think I have a glamorous life in Dubai or I have a lot of money. Even if you have that, you need a lot of other attributes, other skills. So even after climbing 10 peaks, sometime I hear comments like, she probably has 6 people who helped to carry her to the top. I mean, 6 people cannot possibly carry you on the mountain, which is very hard. So I mean, I had to hear a lot of that type of things. I mean, and obviously it affected me because I'm strong. I managed to climb all these peaks because of my physical and mental strength. But I just had to put them on the side. I'm a very sensitive person, but I had to put that all on the side and continue. At one point, I actually wanted to, when I was abused online, earlier this year, just before Everest, I wanted to stop. I mean, there were days when I was thinking maybe I should just stop it, then I will not get the abuse. But I think I use all of that to fuel my desire to continue climbing and continue achieving what I did and turn that negative energy into positive. So I think that's what I'll pass on to my girls.
That's amazing. And obviously from the trolls online, which we hate, to the positives, how did it feel to kind of wave the Pakistani flag on your most recent summit? And what kind of... are you aware that that's an inspiration to so many women in Pakistan?
Definitely. I mean, when I started, it was just to experience what's it like to be on the mountain. And then when by the time I climbed my 3rd peak, I realized, because I was getting messages online or my friends were sharing this to me, that I never thought it was inspirational, but they told me it's inspiring because I work full time and I have 2 small kids, and being from my family, when I was growing up, my upbringing was very conservative. So I realized it is inspiring, and I continue. So I did all these 10 peaks recently, especially the 7 this year. The speed, I think I just wanted to get them done quick because I wanted to go back to my normal life and spend time with kids, but also to inspire women because it was considered to climb one 8,000 meter peak in Pakistan, although we have so many high mountains. It was considered impossible, especially for a girl like me who was not from mountains region. So to climb 7 in a year, to climb 10 just above 2 years, it was considered to be impossible. So this is one of my objective now, to share with the girls or women or even anybody, to be honest, that you don't have to climb mountains. You can have your own hobby or something or you're passionate about. Just go for it. Don't think about the hurdles, the problems. Solve them as you go and run after your passion.
You are a superwoman. Like, there's no other way to put it. You've done everything. I mean, you just put your heart and soul, and this conversation is so inspiring. So it's hard not to ask you, like, advice on advice on advice. But like, for all the mothers out there who are finding it difficult to just juggle things at once and want to go out of, like, their conventional route and try something different, but are, stopping themselves, anything you would tell them?
I think I'd go back to your question about family support. The reason I was able to do all of this was because of the incredible support I had and I have. And it's because it's very hard being a mother. I mean, you have so many things, and especially if you're working, even if you're not working, just being with the kids at home, planning everything, doing everything, it's not easy. So I don't want to make anybody feel bad about because sometimes us women or mothers start comparing ourselves to others. So one thing is never ever compare, because what we do as mothers, it's not easy, especially if you're working. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you work outside or inside. But what helped me, the tip I can give is, if you want to do something, just prioritize things, time management. So, for example, when I was working full time, I'm on a short career break. When I was working full time, I used to take my kids to my training session. So I had a personal trainer. I used to get them. They loved playing in the park, and they sometimes used to join me. And I used them as sometimes weights or put them on my shoulder, do squats. So I took them to my training sessions, and I try to work from home. I know everybody doesn't have that luxury, but I did lots of things where I was not spending time away from the kids too. So working from home, at least I could see them. Taking them to the training session, organized training session either during the lunch break, so I'm not really spending time before or after work. So there are things you can do, but you need to have support around you too. So that is I will really emphasize on that. It's very hard for mothers to do things without support from people around them.
No doubt. Speaking of support, we've spoken to a number of mountaineers, and they say one of the key challenges to summiting many peaks is financial. And many of them look for sponsors to reach the bigger peaks. Do you have sponsors supporting you?
So I was lucky. I have a very good sponsor who sponsored, out of 10, they sponsored 8 of my peaks. It's not easy to find a sponsor. I mean, I tried, even after doing 10, I tried reaching out to others because I still need to find sponsor for the remaining 4 now. I mean, because last one was successful, so I have to do it. I still have to do that. Mm-hmm. So it's not easy when we reach out to companies. I think because it's not, even in Pakistan, we have the most number of peaks which are above 7,000 meters. Our north is beautiful. We have so many mountains, but people don't know much about mountaineering. It's not one of the most popular sport. Here also, we have a few. I mean, in the last couple of years, we also have last year an Emirati woman. She was the first Emirati woman. She's my friend. Her name is also Naila. She climbed Everest. This year, another Emirati lady, she climbed Everest and Lhotse, 2 mountains together. But it's not popular sport, so it's not easy, and it's very expensive too. So you really need to. I mean, I was working. I managed to finance first peak, and I spend money towards others here and there. But even if you're working, you cannot. I could never have done these 10 peaks without a sponsor. Okay. So I would like to request, if anybody is watching, please, not just for me, but please look into help us mountaineers here.
100%. Yeah, it's a similar conversation. People really want to go after certain peaks, and then also certain peaks in a number of years, and reach the 7 summits and all of that, but it takes money. Yes. You said you have 4 or 5 more left to do, and what is the game plan for these? Do you have a time frame that you'd like to complete them?
So I mean, initially I was trying to climb all these peaks as quickly as I could, just for a number of reasons. First, because I wanted to, because if to climb one of the 8,000 meter peaks, sometimes it takes up to 2 months. But if I climb them together, I can use the same acclimatization process on others. I don't have to. So for example, I climbed Everest and Lhotse in 2 days. I climbed. So I mean, I can group them together and get benefit of the whole acclimatization process from the first peak. And then the other reason was just to inspire people that it seems impossible, but it's not. If you want to do it, it's possible. But after the last incident the incident on my last peak, I think I'll take it easy. I was planning to complete everything by spring next year. But I'm still going through, I'm still rethinking and thinking about everything that happened. I will definitely climb all 14, inshallah, but I may take more time than what I thought I would take previously.
Do you feel like the quote, slow and steady wins the race is something for the mountains?
I mean, recently, I don't know if you watched 14 Peaks on Netflix. If you haven't, please watch it. It's a really very, very inspiring documentary, sorry. So recently, a lot of people have been climbing. They've been doing speed climbs, and they have been successful in it. And the incident that happened, it was, you can say maybe they were rushing to reach the summit first. That happened. That's what caused the accident. But on the mountain, Japanese are known to go really slow and steady. And I mean, historically or previously, my speed was quite slow. I mean, I reached the summit when I was slow. I reached the summit when I was fast. But I think most important thing is keeping your safety in mind, whether your speed is fast or slow. I think now, I don't think it matters anymore. You just need to think about everything around environment, safety.
Just don't forget the safety aspect of it when you're climbing.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck to you. We
Thank
cannot
you.
wait to follow your journey as you complete all 14 peaks. That was Naila Kiani, who is a mountaineer and super mom. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us your story. Very inspiring. Guys, that is all we have time for on the Lovin Dubai show this morning. Have a great day, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.